Hello and welcome to Added Time, the podcast that brings you up to date with all things women's football. I'm your host, Abbie McCarthy, and as ever, I'm joined by a generational talent, our queen of the WSL, the winner of our listeners' hearts. It's Fran Kirby. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much again for a wonderful announcement there.
There you go, doing my best to smash it every single
I think
week.
next time I'm going to have to do the announcement. I think I should do the intro next week.
There you go. Okay, that's your challenge. That's
I'm going to have to
the
write
biggest
it down.
challenge of the weekend.
It's going to take
Screw
me a
the
week
game
to
you're
write
playing.
it.
Yeah, start working on it now. And I know you've been enjoying these intros, so I wanted to try and keep up that energy. But as everyone will know, it's been a really tough week this week, hasn't it, in women's football, with the really devastating news that Matt Beard passed away, aged just 47. And you can just see how much he meant to players, fans, basically everyone involved in the sport, even journalists. You know, all these beautiful comments coming through, being posted on social media, the Just Giving page as well for his family, an absolute cornerstone of the game, but clearly just a brilliant man as well. What are your memories of Matt, Fran?
Yeah, it's really sad. It's a really sad moment for obviously his family, for his friends, for women's football, and for everyone who knew Matt, who worked with him, who heard him on the sideline screaming at the ref or the opposition team. And he was someone that he gave so much to the women's game. And I think for those who have only recently joined the women's game or only in the last few years, who might not have seen, the state of what women's football was, we're talking even just 15 years ago, it wasn't that long ago. And he was someone who he gave so much to put the game where it is now and to grow the game. And he did it for no money. He did it for the love of the game. He did it as a volunteer. And for me, it's such a sad moment because we've lost such a true pioneer for women's football. And we haven't had loads of them over the last, however many years. So for me, it's a really sad moment. But I mean, to talk about him as a person, obviously I didn't play under Matt, but obviously I was playing for Chelsea at the time when he was at Liverpool, Bristol, and you kind of you know what he's like. And he was someone who always after the game he would come over and, "You're all right, darling, how are you getting on?" And he would take the time to really talk to you. And he always found a way with me whenever there was an article about my mum or I spoke about my mum, he would send me a message and he would reach out and chat, and vice versa when he won Manager of the Year, to be able to congratulate him on that, which was incredibly deserved. And he was someone who just knew how to reach out in the right moments. In the moments when you're feeling, you look and you've got a DM or you've got a message on Twitter and it's him and he's like congratulating you or saying he saw this article and it really resonated with him. And he was someone who just did that and he took the time to do it. And I think you could see the response from everyone, the clubs, the players who worked with him, who didn't work with him, players who have retired from the game, players who are still in the game. You can see the love that everyone had for him, and he was such a lovely, lovely guy. So to lose someone like that, it's a massive loss to the world, not just to women's football, not just to, us as players. It's a massive loss for everyone who knew him, and anyone who would have had the chance to get to know him is at a massive loss now. So it's really sad. And obviously, the same as what everyone has been saying, I'm sure all of our thoughts and love are with his family and his close friends at this time. And yeah, I mean, I just hope that, throughout the next few years, and obviously you've seen all the posts about him now and the admiration that he's got, I just hope that we continue to do that because he was such a trailblazer for the sport. He was a winning manager, back-to-back champions, which hadn't really been done in the WSL before. So, he deserves a lot of credit for what he did for women's football, but also the kind of person he was around everyone at the time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? He'll be remembered, of course, for those trophies and the great success he had, but also for just being a really special, caring, funny person that made other people feel, seen and loved. That's such a special thing. And you touched on it there. There'll be so many people who are now women's football fans because of, say, like the recent Euro success and things like that, and they won't know his story. And it's incredible and inspiring, isn't it? He was working as like an estate agent, part-time coaching then at Chelsea, obviously went on to have all that success with Liverpool, winning the league back to back. I mean, and he just loved the game. He wouldn't have been getting paid much money, then if we're being honest. He just did it for the pure love of it and to drive the sport forward. And that's just incredible. Like his legacy will always live on, even for that.
Well, his legacy is what the game is now.
Yeah.
The reason why we are able to do what we do now, the reason why central contracts were created for England to be professional, the reason why, we're able to be professional now, where the game is at is because of people like Matt. The people who had to, finish work and go to training or quit his job so he could be there and do the training for the girls, water the pitch when it was too dry, or blow up the balls because they were flat. Like, these are the people, and Matt was a massive trailblazer for that because he was probably one of the first ones to do it. And it's lovely now that, the fans coming in can see where the women's game is at. They can see the facilities. They can see, they can have kits with people's names on the back, and it's all because of people like Matt and everything that he gave. And I really hope, all of us who known Matt previously in terms of his management and in terms of knowing him for a few years, I really hope that the generation of players who come through now, the generation of fans, remember people like Matt, because you wouldn't be in the position you were now if it wasn't for people like Matt and what he did. So for me, it's a massive reason for everyone to look back and go, do you know what a great guy, and he is the reason why I'm able to be a professional footballer. He is the reason why I can go and watch England play at Wembley, Arsenal at the Emirates, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. This is the guy who made all of this happen, just for being there when others weren't.
Yeah, I hope there's more and more ways that people honour him over the coming months, and obviously sending loads of love to everyone who loved him, especially his family and friends. Now, last week, Fran, we made our Ballon d'Or predictions. We were both, of course, back in Mariona Caldente. We thought maybe Russo was also in with a shout, but no. It was Bonmati, her third win on the bounce. I mean, kind of solidifying her really as one of the GOATs, but a lot of chatter online about this, especially our clip on TikTok that got everyone talking as well. What do you make of it, Fran, when you saw, her win that on the night?
Look, Bonmati is an incredible footballer. And I think it's really easy for us to get caught up in talking about, especially obviously Rousseau being English and what she's done in the league, what Mariona has done in the league this year. We probably have not been in a position where we've been able to see Bonmati in the league, so to speak. But for me, watching her in the Champions League, in the Euros, obviously she came into the Euros a bit poorly, but even, after that, you can see why she is the best player in the world. The way she plays, she's very different to everyone else. Don't get me wrong, I still think with what Mariona Caldente did last year, she deserved to win that award. And I mean, it's an incredible award to come first, second, third, top 10, top 30. To know that you're in the top 30 of the best players in the world is a massive achievement. And I think every player who was nominated for that award is nominated for a reason. So I think it's a massive congratulations to all of them players who were there on that night, who were nominated on that night, and who obviously, Bonmati herself for winning that award. And for, Caldente coming second, and obviously Russo as well getting third place is absolutely incredible. But for me, I love footballers. I don't really care for stats. I don't care for what trophies you've won. I don't care for what team you play for. I love to watch footballers play and play the game with expression. And for me, Bonmati and Caldente were the two players that really did that last year. So for me, I wasn't too disappointed with who won. I think both of them deserved it. I think Bonmati has more of a chance probably to continue winning the award. But yeah, for me, Bonmati is the best player in the world. I just felt with what Caldente did, moving from Barcelona to Arsenal, going on to win. Maybe perhaps if Arsenal had won another trophy in England, it maybe would have helped a little bit in that sense. But overall, I'm not too disappointed with who won, because she is an absolute freak when she's on the football pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like Bonmati is always going to be in the conversation. An incredible player, like you say, that totally dictates play, and someone that you just love to watch as well. That's such a huge part of it, isn't it? But I think if players like Russo, Caldente want to win it going forwards, it's about that domestic success as well. I do think it's interesting though, because I think it is an award that I think is nearly always quite Eurocentric. Do you agree with that?
To be honest, I think with every women's award, it's very tournament driven. I think because it's on such a more global scale, you can watch it in different countries, you can have access to see the games. I think where women's football is lacking is the availability to watch the games. So for me, I want to be able to watch the league in Spain. I want to be able to watch the league in Italy. I want to be able to watch, all of these other leagues, because then I think you can get a clearer picture of, for me, I'm lucky I get to watch women's football here in England. So of course I'm going to sit here and go, well, Caldente was the best player in our league.
Yeah.
She was the best player and she won the Champions League. So it's very easy for me to sit there and say that because I have access to see it. Would I have felt differently if I was able to watch the Spanish league and I was able to watch Bonmati play week in, week out and go, do you know what, actually, no, she's incredible. But I think the problem is that because I don't have access to it, how do the journalists who are voting for it have access to it? How do they know how these players, they see the Euros, they see the Champions League, they see the big tournaments, and I think it's really difficult to say that you're going to pick a player for being the best player for the whole year when you haven't had access to watch them apart from the last 3 months.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it's becoming a little bit difficult, and I really want women's football to get to a point where you are able to watch it. I get it's in the same as the men, but I can watch Italian football in England in the men's game. I can watch some of the Spanish games. It's not possible to do that for the women's game. So for me, I think the next drive is going to make it accessible for everyone to watch it. So these awards, you can sit there and go, yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely correct, because I've seen her play. I've watched her play. Yes, I saw Bonmati play against Chelsea in the Champions League. I watched her in Champions League final. I watched her in the Euros, but that doesn't solidify a whole year of playing well. And of course, you look at it at the end, go, Caldente won the Champions League, Russo won the Champions League and the Euros. Why is she not winning? And I get it, because that's what we see. So I think women's football has to start playing a little bit of catch up with that if we're going to start going, right, okay, yeah, this person deserves to be in the top 10. I'm not talking about the winner. I'm talking even about, the top 10 of going, yeah, when I watched them play, I watched them play maybe 10 to 12 times this year. Really, really good, definitely deserves it. So, all of these players are absolutely fantastic. And of course, they should be being nominated for these awards. But it's difficult for me to sit here and go, well, this person deserved it, when I didn't actually really get to watch that other person. So I think that's where women's football has to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. What was great to see though is so many British players dominate the top 10. Like that must be the first time in a number of years. Obviously, Alessia Russo, Chloe Kelly, Leah Williamson, Lucy Bronze, and Hannah Hampton. Some serious looks served on the red carpet as well. Lots of aura points, I thought. Yeah, you must be delighted to see so many of your friends up there repping in the top 10.
Yeah, it's incredible to be nominated for this award. As I said earlier, whether you come first, whether you come 30th, it's an incredible honour. It's something that, it never leaves you. I obviously had the privilege of being nominated for the Ballon D'Or, for the first ever Ballon D'Or. When I saw that, it actually was an Instagram post by Chelsea saying that I had been nominated. So I didn't even get, any official kind of congratulations, this is what's going on. It was just on Instagram after a game.
Wow.
And I remember that feeling of sitting there going, wow, I've been recognised as one of the top players in the world. This is amazing. So for these girls to be able to go there, to be able to represent our country and be on that stage and be in the top 10, it's absolutely incredible. And, they deserve it. They deserve to be there. They've won numerous trophies this year. They've played their hearts out all season. So obviously a huge congratulations to all of them, and I'm pretty sure that it will be a moment in their career that they will never forget. I will never forget that I was nominated for it 2 times. They will never forget that they have been nominated. I mean, Lucy Bronze has been nominated more times than I think anyone else has in the whole world.
Yeah.
But it's still a massive honour and a massive occasion. So I'm really glad that they got to have that moment and got to be there and got to be a part of the evening.
Yeah, and there's so many of those players you back to go and win it in the future. I kind of don't doubt that. But obviously, like you say, you've been nominated for the Ballon d'Or a couple of times. What is it like on the night? I've never got to go. So many people listening will maybe never ever get to go. How is it as an occasion? Because I guess it's a bit like when I go to the Brits and I'm kind of like nosing at all the different music artists that I've interviewed over the years and stuff. You're looking at all these footballers and people that you admire.
Well, it was very different back in women's football back then when I was nominated. It was obviously the first one.
Yes.
So I think it was a little bit up in the air about where did the women go, a little bit. Yeah, it was very different to how it looked for the girls the other night, let's say that. I mean, it was still an incredible experience. We were sitting front row, we were there, all of us kind of were together for the night, all of the women were together, and everyone who was there was really, really lovely. And I was quite shy. I'd never been to, a major awards evening before. It was my first time really ever being kind of in that room and in that bracket. So it was a lot of waiting around, I would say. Yeah, I think I managed to get a picture on the red carpet when I went in, and that was kind of, there was no like behind the scenes in terms of like videos or content creators. Like it was completely different when I went, oh God, I can't remember how many years ago it was now. So it definitely looked like the girls who went now experienced a much cooler version than what I did. But for me, it wasn't about the occasion. It was about what it symboled and what the occasion was, and the fact that women were nominated for the first time. We were there, we were present, we showed up. You look on the men's side and the winner and 2 others joined up, came to the occasion, whereas all the women came pretty much, apart from those who were overseas, who obviously maybe had games or, anything like that. But for me, it was more being there in the occasion rather than the actual occasion itself, because I think comparing that to, they're carrying both Ballon d'Ors in together. Back then I think the women's one was kind of taken around the back, and so it just wasn't the same. But it was still an amazing occasion to be there and kind of be in the presence of so many incredible footballers, and just to be nominated as well was amazing. So yeah, I definitely, if a player is nominated, I definitely recommend going, that's for sure. But yeah, it was much different back then to what the girls experienced.
Yeah, it's definitely a proper kind of glitzy occasion now, isn't it? And we should talk about, before we move on, Hannah Hampton, the best goalkeeper in the world now. I did think it was a bit awkward, Mary giving her award. I don't know if that was just me, but what an amazing, powerful speech from Hannah. Getting to know her a little bit when I hosted Lionesses Live during the Euros in 2022. It's amazing to see, even from the outside, just how much she's matured as a player and as a person. And, you must have noticed that as, being her teammate at England as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Hannah absolutely deserved that award that evening. I don't think there was many people who felt she didn't deserve it. Obviously, Ann-Katrin Berger had an incredible Euros as well. So for me, it was out of them two, I would say, of who was going to kind of get that title. But I think, obviously winning the Euros, winning so much with Chelsea, being such an important player in that, I would say she was England's best player in the Euros in terms of her saves, her distribution, penalties, all of them things. So I do think that it was correct decision for her to win that award. And yeah, she's grown so much in the last however many years. And obviously I was there at Chelsea when she first came into Chelsea. And from there to now, you can just see the growth, the confidence as well, I think, has grown so much. And it's why maybe she's a lot more confident when she's on the pitch, which definitely helps as a goalkeeper. But yeah, I think she's really matured. She's learning a lot still as well, even though, she's achieved so many things. She's learning things about the game that maybe she hasn't experienced before, getting a little bit of, I don't want to say abuse, but, a little bit of, criticism here and there as well, which is all part of it. It's going to happen, and how you deal with that, how you can push through that, how you learn from it. So all of these things that she's learning is only going to make her stronger as a goalkeeper and also as a teammate, because a goalkeeper, you're very isolated. You train by yourself, or you train in your GK union and then you come over. So all of these things will help her kind of build her confidence, and you can see that in the way that she's performing.
I did love football Twitter on the night of the Ballon d'Or because, as you say, she got some criticism going into the Euros. Will she be as good as Mary Earps? Or she's a young keeper, this and that. And there were so many people who then quoted those tweets with just her and everything she's won since they posted that. And I was like, that is quite fun. I enjoy that. Right, there's plenty of WSL action happening again this weekend. I want to get your predictions. But first of all, I thought, why don't we take a little moment to talk about some of the players that have impressed you so far this season? I feel like there's some young players kind of really making their mark on the league, people that we haven't maybe seen a lot of up until this season. And yeah, who have you been impressed by?
I'm going to go with two to start with, and then I'll let you jump in with a couple of players. But I think Jess Park has looked really good for United. I think she's looked sharp. She's looked like she's just fitted in to the way that they play. And obviously there was a lot of chat around the transfer, around going from City to United and Grace Clinton going the other way. But, Jess is a fantastic player and she's very tidy on the ball, and she's someone that she can unlock defences with the way that she plays. And I've really enjoyed watching her and seeing her come into herself and playing consistently, which will definitely help. And my second one, purely off the basis of the fact that she came in against us and then she came in against Tottenham, is Carolyn. She looks frightening at the moment, I would say. I mean, I watched the Tottenham game, and obviously, of course, you lose a player like Lauren Hemp and you're like, oh my god, like we've lost an incredible player. And then you bring on Carolyn and it's just Roadrunner. She was just everywhere in terms of she got the ball and she was driving, and obviously got the assist for Grace Clinton and got herself involved. And I've really enjoyed watching her. I remember when I was on the bench against Man City when I'd come off, and there was a moment when she picked up the ball down the outside, and I just thought, what? She is so fast.
You're like, huh? She was just there, and now she's there.
Like back in my day, I used to be a little bit fast. I had a little bit of afterburner, but I watched this girl and I was like, wow, that is scary. Scary. So I think them two, I would say, are the two who I've watched and I've gone, yeah, okay, like these are serious contenders in the league this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Especially Jess Park. I feel like the fact that she just looks like she's playing now. She's so happy to actually just be getting game time. I feel like we're gonna truly see what a special player she is, because obviously we've sort of seen kind of glimpses of it, but this is going to be, yeah, for sure, one of her standout seasons. And also, I think Katie Reid, for Arsenal.
I was going to say this one as well. I was going to say, it just came in my head, and I thought, if you said someone else at the end of this, I'm going to go, we need to talk about Katie Reid as well. Yeah.
Because bless her, like, what a responsibility. You're filling in for Leah Williamson. She's really young. She's coming in defence, but she's done a great job. That is, a big responsibility on her shoulders. And you know what? She's pretty rapid as well.
Yeah, well, she played against us last season. I think it was in a cup game and she played. I remember watching, and she was even younger than what she is now. So I remember watching her and I was like, she has something, this girl, she's just good on the ball, tactically aware. And, this is a big thing now with the young girls coming through. A lot of them are physically very good, technically very good, but tactically they struggle. They struggle with the game and how fast things move. But I was watching her, I was like, she's in control. She understands what's expected of her. And then obviously the game against London City, giving away a penalty at home at the Emirates.
No, bless her.
That could, make a player crumble a little bit. It can make them feel, oh God, like what have I just done? If we end up losing the game 1-0, it's my fault. All of these things. But she just handled it. This happens. Get on with it. And then, you saw the rest of the game. She wasn't frantic after it. She just kind of got on with it. And then obviously the other day against Man United, she just looked so comfortable. And I think it's really, really impressive for a young player to be able to step up in them moments and go. And I remember the camera panned in on her at one point and she was shouting directions to someone. I was like, this girl's 18 years old, and this is what I love to see. I think I spoke about it earlier on one of the other podcasts. You need these players when they come in to have the confidence to be able to go left shoulder, right shoulder, press. You need someone, and for her to be able to do that and communicate it, I'm like, yeah, this is impressive. She's got a big future, and for me, it wouldn't be too much of a shock to see her in the Lionesses radar
Mm.
soon. Obviously there's some incredible players there, but obviously Leah Williamson being out, she's not going to go into the Lionesses and be a starter. But you get her in, you get her around the environment. Serena will obviously absolutely already know about her in terms of that she plays in the youth age groups. But you're looking at it now going, do I get her in? You got 2 years for the next tournament. You're looking at it going, she could be the one that kind of comes in, gets that experience, looking for the next few years. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see that kind of on the radar as well.
Yeah, because she's definitely got the confidence and the composure, hasn't she? So we'll see how that plays out. And Olivia Smith as well. I guess we can't not talk about her. Obviously, such a huge signing, and has kind of made her mark in the WSL pretty instantly. Definitely in that debut game. But yeah, want to see some more goals like that from her. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, you move from Liverpool to Arsenal, and there was a couple of questions. Is she going to start? Obviously, Arsenal have Beth Mead, they have Chloe Kelly, they have a lot of, wide options. So I think for me to see her starting, she must be doing the right things in training. She's obviously scoring goals in the game. She's creating chances. Obviously, she was the one who had the shot. Was it the only shot on target for Arsenal in the game, I think, the other day, in terms of, creating a chance. So yeah, I think she's a very talented footballer. She's gonna create them opportunities, and she's only going to grow more and more in confidence as well, being at a team like Arsenal where she's not just going to get one chance, she's going to get 2 chances, 3 chances, 4 chances. So there's going to be more opportunities for her to start scoring more goals as well.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's look ahead to this weekend at the games. Arsenal versus Villa. Who are you backing in that fixture?
Oh, Villa caused Chelsea a lot of problems.
Yeah.
They caused them a lot of problems in that game. I think Arsenal are still too strong, but I think similar to what I said about Chelsea, if Arsenal don't set up, you saw the game last season with Arsenal and Aston Villa, Aston Villa's place, and the counter-attack absolutely destroyed Arsenal against Villa. So they need to be prepared for that again, because Villa are very similar to that. But I still think Arsenal may be too strong in possession. And yeah, I'm going to say Arsenal win on that one.
Yeah, I think Arsenal probably will edge it, but they've not maybe started the season as strong as people would have hoped. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think everyone just compares every start to Chelsea.
Yeah, that's what's going to be interesting,
you're not on the
isn't
same
it?
level,
Yeah,
yeah, it will be interesting.
Yeah, because the next few weeks, in a way, Chelsea could end up running away with it and really kind of building that gap at the top, and that's not what you want. You need to stay close and stay competing, especially if you're Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking at these teams and you're going, they can't really afford to drop anymore. We've seen in previous years with the WSL, it comes down to really fine margins, and as soon as you kind of drop too far behind, you're looking at it going, well, we need Chelsea to lose 2 games. And then you're looking in the calendar and you're going, where are they going to lose 2 games? So it's getting to the point now already, I would say, for Man City and for Arsenal and Man United. You're looking at it going, we have to beat Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
The game next Friday is Chelsea Man United. That's huge. A big game. It's a huge game. If Chelsea win that game, you're looking at Man United going, right, okay, you've lost a game, you've drawn a game, now you're 4 points. You're looking at it and you're going, oh, that's difficult to pick back up. So it's already getting interesting with that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so City versus London City Lionesses as well.
Another tough game for London City, I think. Yeah. But I when I watched the City Tottenham game, I do feel like City started shakily. As soon as they got the goal, it was complete domination. So obviously London City will have the confidence of beating Everton, which was a massive result for them to get 3 points. So, if you're London City, you're looking at going, we could maybe do something here. But of course, we also know the qualities of Man City, and they can score a goal like that with Bunny Shaw or Carolyn or whoever it is. So yeah, you definitely have to go into that game with more, probably I would say, a defensive approach for London City.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's going to be close, like a 2-1 or something. I can see that playing out. Leicester City against Spurs.
Ooh, interesting game.
Yeah, I kind of can't call that, to be honest.
No, because I felt Leicester did really well against Chelsea.
Yeah, they kept them pretty quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, and caused a bit of problems for Chelsea. I mean, obviously when teams play against Chelsea, they do go much more defensive minded. So it is really hard as a team to break down, a back five, a back six. It's really tough. So I can't see Leicester doing the same approach against Tottenham. I think they'll maybe try and go a little bit more offensive. But, I don't know. That one has stumped me. Maybe I'll just go for a draw because I don't know who.
Yeah. It's either a draw or weirdly, I think Leicester maybe will
Tottenham have to bounce back after the result and the performance really from the other night. So you're looking at going, okay, we need a good positive performance here. Otherwise, it's two on the bounce.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Leicester definitely probably feel like they're in a bit more of a confident feeling right now going into the game.
And then your game at the weekend, of course, Brighton taking on Everton. So what's that, Brighton 5-0, is it?
Yeah, we can hope and pray.
Yeah, Fran Kirby hat-trick, a couple of assists as well.
No, I think it's going to be a really close game.
Mm-hmm.
I think, obviously we managed to get 3 points on the weekend, which we really, really needed. We knew that it was a really important game for us, and to get them 3 points on the board after a tricky start to the league. So this is another really, really important game for us. I think we obviously, of course, want to win the game and get another 3 points on the board. And, we definitely feel that we have the flow now in the way we're playing. We're playing really well. We're playing the style of play. So hopefully we can keep building on it. But our problem last year for me was consistency and being able to maintain that performance week in, week out. So that's something that I'm probably going to be saying for the next 2 days in front of everyone. Consistency. Let's be consistent. Let's do what we can do. So, yeah, I mean, Everton obviously started the league very, very strong with their performance and then obviously dipped a little bit. So they'll also be looking at this as an opportunity to get themselves back going again. So I think every game is important in this league, but I think to try and get the points on as early as you can is really, really important in terms of when you maybe go through a blip. You're looking after Christmas, the games get thicker and faster coming in, a couple of injuries. If you've got the points on the board, you kind of be okay with that for a little bit. So hopefully we're able to do that, and they're definitely going to be able to do that as well.
It's going to be a good game. Does feel like Brighton are hitting their stride, though, I'll be honest. I definitely enjoyed that last game. Liverpool against Man United. Huge game, that.
Yeah. Every game I'm like...
Yeah, you're like, I'll watch that. Do you know what? That sounds good.
Yeah.
We got a podcast to talk about it after as well.
Exactly. Yeah, no, another big game. And obviously as well, I did feel Man United played really well the other day against Arsenal in terms of having that midweek fixture and having to, come down from that win. Tough game. And then having to, play against Arsenal, one of the favourites for the league this year, and being able to kind of contain them as well as they did, I thought was really impressive. And I think, previously we've watched Man United, we haven't always spoken about their defensive work. I mean, obviously we speak about Maya Letitia and, the back line that they have, the goalkeeper Fallon Joyce, but I really felt in that game they showed the grit. They showed our backs are against the wall here. We've got to get through this. We've got to try and get something from it. And they were able to do that, and they did it really as solid. So obviously I think it'll be very different for them going into this Liverpool game. I think they'll obviously dominate possession. They'll obviously try and look to create more chances. But Liverpool are starting to grow a little bit with Gareth Taylor. I think they're starting to understand what he wants, what he needs. And, thing is, I think you see loads of these teams nowadays looking at going, we've got a chance here. And I think Liverpool will feel like that going into the Man United game. Of course, you have to do the basics well, be tight defensively, don't give up any easy chances, and you have a good chance. And if you've got style and a fundamental style of play, you have a good chance. But, I think Man United will be too strong for Liverpool, but I think you can see that Liverpool are starting to grow as kind of the games are going on.
Yeah, I'm also really glad you mentioned Maya Letitia there. I feel like she doesn't often get the flowers she deserves. Great player.
I think you have players that go under the radar quite a lot. And, not in terms of women's footballers. For us, when we analyse players, when we watch the game and we see them, we appreciate these players. We see what they do. But there's something I think if the media doesn't hype you up, then you're not really spoken about too much, and it depends also what people talk about at half time in terms of the punditry stuff. What are they focusing on for others to see back home? And, your overall kind of social media presence as well plays a big part in terms of, how many people are speaking about you and speak about your performances. So, yeah, I think Maya has really, and obviously losing Millie Turner as well, the centre-back partnership that she's played with for such a long time. And obviously, of course, I'm hoping for a really healthy recovery for Millie Turner. I know obviously she's gone through an injury last season and got injured again. But for Maya to kind of be able to step up, obviously, Dominique Janssen is a very experienced player, so it's not like no one random has come into the back line with her. But, it's difficult when you've built a kind of connection with a player who's played next to you for so long and then, they're out. So I think for her to be able to step up and continue to put in them performances is a massive credit to her. And she's someone who has been working tirelessly every single day to get herself into this position. Obviously I've witnessed it on Lionesses, the way she conducts herself, the way she trains hard, her gym work, her recovery. You see all of these things when you're with these people. So for me, it's not a surprise to see her performing this way. But for others, maybe they don't shout about it as much because maybe she's not spoken about as much.
Yeah, just because in a way she's so consistently brilliant. She goes under the radar, definitely. Okay, last game of the weekend that we haven't chatted about yet: West Ham against Chelsea. West Ham have not had the best start, have they?
No, they have struggled a little bit, which is surprising for me actually, because they have some really top quality players in that team. It's just working out how they use them. And I think, you're looking at their team and you're going, right, okay, Ueki, Asai, Morgan, you're looking at these players, Gory, you're looking at them and you're going, there should be something here. Obviously against us, they didn't really start the first half too well and 2-0 down, and they came out in the second half and it was like a different team had come out. They were aggressive, they were high pressing, Martinez was pressing, and it really kind of caught us a little bit off guard. And you have the players who are capable of doing that press. You have fast, aggressive players, and there's not many teams in women's football that like aggression and press, to try and work them way out of it, and it causes a kind of a stress response. So, I mean, obviously you're looking at form and the previous results and you're going, okay, Chelsea should easily win this game with the players that they have. Aggie Beaver-Jones is obviously on fire at the moment, scoring lots of goals. They're keeping clean sheets, which is very important. Yes, okay, maybe they only won 1-0 to Leicester, but 3 points is 3 points, getting that win. So you're looking at it and you're going, yeah, Chelsea should be in control in this game. But I do think if West Ham get it right and they click, then there's something there for them to kind of, there's something for them to grasp. There's something, you're probably sitting in that change room going, once it clicks, it's going to click. They have something to hold on to. But, I mean, you have to do it pretty soon before you start losing. As I said, you're looking at the points in the table. So, yeah, I hope that they find a way to bring all their players together and make it work, because they do have some really, really quality players in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping for a Chelsea win, of course, to make my weekend, but we will debrief on all of the games on next week's podcast. Thank you so much, as ever, for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.